Greetings, geeks, and welcome to episode 435 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malda, and I'm joined today in pretend low Earth orbit with two of the finest geeks you're ever going to imagine. I got Rob Roseboom.
Hey, how's it going?
And Chris DeBona.
Hey, how's it going?
I was caught a little off guard because you introduced me first.
I know, I'm keeping it real, man.
Yeah.
That's nice.
All right.
I want to make sure that I'm not playing favorites, but mostly it has to do, I think, with join order and where you're appearing on my screen. I don't have, I do hate you, but for completely different reasons.
Sure. And, that's fine. I get it.
Yeah.
How do you know he was talking about you in that case, Rob?
Oh, I know.
He does.
It's a Rob thing, Chris.
It's a Rob thing. You wouldn't understand.
You're not one of us. It's a unique bond forged by sharing one cigarette every morning for like 15 years.
Yeah.
The Rob cigarette.
That's right. Of which 99% of them were stolen from Jeff Bates.
That sounds about right.
Well, you know my rule. When I smoked, I would never buy cigarettes because if I bought a pack of cigarettes, I would just immediately smoke the entire pack of cigarettes. So the only way to not smoke a pack a day was to steal a pack from Mr. Jeff Bates.
Yeah.
It's logical.
Much better to be a parasite than an addict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's so bad.
They do. They're awful.
Yeah.
It's the truth. All right. First of all, we have the most important piece of news of the day that I was unaware of, this is gonna blow your mind. But it turns out that 5G towers have been transmitting the coronavirus, which is why they're getting torn down in the UK.
Well, so there's been some vandalism of 5G towers in the United Kingdom. But here's the thing. This rumor started almost, I want to say a month or so ago when we were just talking about this thing as the Wuhan flu or whatever, and we weren't calling it boomer remover yet. And so I remember I saw someone had said, well, Wuhan is where Huawei has been testing 5G. And that's where this thing came from. And I'm like, first of all, that's not where they've been testing 5G. 5G has nothing to do with this. What does Huawei have to do with this? Oh my goodness. So I remember when that rumor came out, I actually told some friends about it. I'm like, that's just,
I think that the thing for me,
like next level.
The thing for me that's the real irony of all of this is that 5G is absolutely 100% responsible for transmitting some number of coronavirus cases. The problem is it's not actually the biological distribution. It's just dumbasses distributing things like, go ahead, go to church. That'll be fine.
Yeah, except for the fact that we don't really have the same 5G in the States that the rest of the world has. And even they don't have much of it because it's so new. Well, we use different frequencies and everything. And Chris, expecting logic from people is just, I know, beyond the pale.
Listen, man, you can just shut your yap because AT&T changed the icon on my phone to tell me that I have 5G.
That is some kind
magically,
of wrongness.
You're not allowed. You don't have to tell the truth. You can just change logos.
There's been so much BS. I mean, actually, there was a lot of BS around when 4G was being adopted, but there's even so much more about 5G. And also, 4G is really 4G LTE is crazy fast. I don't know why everyone's in such a hurry to get all 5G'd up. So, and do you know how many base stations the United States needs to have the level of coverage using our version of 5G?
Oh, you basically have to put one on every telephone pole.
It's like we need 10 million base stations to have the same kind of coverage we have, and it's no. And the reason why I'm sorry.
Go.
So, in the United States, the 5G frequencies that are used in the rest of the world are reserved for use by the military. So let's postulate a future conflict. Do you think that the enemies of America can be like, oh, well, we better stop using our cell phones. The American military is nearby. I'm like, this is inconsistent and stupid. So anyway,
true.
So because of that, we need 10 times the base stations that a European country or a Chinese or an Asian country would need for the same for it's just so dumb. And it's not like you get magic extra capacity because you use different frequencies, lower frequency. I'm not thrilled about this.
I mean, the reality is that if we really wanted to do some sort of national coverage like that, all we have to do is just mandate that everybody's stupid ass home Wi-Fi's have to broadcast some 802.11 signal that we agree, and then have a segmented network architecture, and that will work for you in where 70% of people live. And 5G ain't going to cut it for the people that live in areas that don't have the population density to do that.
Yeah. You're right.
I know I'm right, Chris. I'm usually am, despite the fact that you guys are always mean to me.
We're never mean to you except for Rob. Now, Rob
Robs are allowed to be mean to other Robs. It's part of the Rob code.
It's a Rob thing.
It's a Rob thing. Oh God, that's so
I think I just found the title for the episode.
No. Well, how about Velveeta Fudge?
That sounds
Velveeta
delicious.
Fudge.
Will you explain Velveeta Fudge, please, for the
I can't really explain Velveeta Fudge. I can explain the recipe book that it's in. So one of the things we decided to do last night while we were bored playing another round of Why Do You Do That Like That was go through some of the cookbooks that we have. And sorry, Rob.
No, I've been playing that game for 3 weeks.
Yeah, there's a lot of it being played. Anyway, we were going through cookbooks, and so one of the things that we had in this house is my mom gave me a church cookbook from like 10 years ago that is filled with, you may not be able to fully appreciate this, Chris, but there's a certain sort of dining aesthetic and taste that comes with growing up in West Michigan, where lots of casseroles are made. Velveeta is added to virtually everything, and you refer to margarine as oleo. So this cookbook is filled with all sorts of questionable recipes, like salmon and pea soup is one that we saw. But the one that caught our eye immediately was something called Velveeta Fudge, which is apparently fudge you make with Velveeta.
Is there chocolate in this?
Oh yeah. So anyway, we decided it would be fun to open up the recipe book, give a couple a shot every week, and then write reviews about them. So that's sort of the project.
There are certain moles that have chocolate in them, and I sort of wonder if this is like Midwestern mole.
No. This is it seems to be the underlying thread that binds everything together in this cookbook is if it can be prepared in under 10 minutes. It seems that speed is the overriding ingredient that binds everything together in this thing. That and Velveeta.
So in Holland, we have the Heinz Pickle Factory, the Heinz Vinegar Works. Mm-hmm. Do they also make Velveeta in Holland?
No, but I think that if you were to do a core sample on any of us who were raised there, you would easily find several Velveeta layers sandwiched in there with the Heinz products.
For sure.
Yeah. Interesting.
Like a geologist could tell what year something was made in just by how much Velveeta it contains.
That was a very good year. 1982 was a very good year for Velveeta.
Yeah. So I should point out the index grilled cheese sandwich in my family was 2 pieces of white bread, Velveeta in between, and my mom would take basically a frying pan, and she'd put butter on it, and she would squish the living hell out of it using like a teapot or something, and those things were fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just fantastic.
There's lots of those things that aren't technically delicious that hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't think I should go back and eat it. Yeah. Oh, I love Spam. I mean,
fried Spam staple.
It's fantastic. Are you kidding? It's like half my kids' core sample.
So anyway, the cookbook is interesting. We're going to probably start with a couple that maybe are sort of palatable.
Ooh. My kid.
See how it goes.
My cat kid added smoked Gouda to the shopping list because that's the grilled cheese he wants. I'm like,
Yes.
dude, you have the wrong index for what's happening right now.
Well,
Yeah, things have changed definitely.
I'm
as
just
far
picturing one of your. Sorry, go ahead.
No, as far as what's acceptable to feed to children,
Yep.
we grew up in a time of, latchkey children, and there's a casserole in the oven, or there's a casserole in the fridge, put it in the oven 20 minutes before I come home. And if you're going to make that vegetable, you boil it until it's mush.
And the best thing about all of the ingredients in the casserole is every ingredient is one unit of what you purchased in the store. So it's like one can of tomato sauce, one bag of frozen vegetables, one, like whatever it was the unit that was sold in the store.
Mm-hmm.
That's how my wet burrito recipe works. It requires 1 jar of tomato sauce, 1 pound thing of ground beef. Everything is 1 can.
That's the other thing about these recipes. A lot of them we were reading through last night, and they're like, if you're going to make, like one of them was glazed pork, and it was use 1 to 3 pounds of pork.
It's like, that's a very different amount of
big
pork.
difference. Right? I mean,
There is some variance.
Yeah. I think we would get very different dinners if we made 1 pound of pork versus 3 pounds of pork. But,
yeah. So I just dropped a link in the channel. It's various flavors of Velveeta. I didn't realize, but of course there has to be many different flavors, and they have jalapeno, sharp cheddar, queso blanco, and they have Mexican. Just
I like that some of the Velveetas proudly advertise the fact that they're made with milk.
Yeah, and others they're just made with Mexican.
They're just not.
Oh, I have to show this to my Mexican friends. And I'm like, hey, have you ever had Velveeta Mexican?
Yes. It's a staple of our childhood.
And then they have, like, is there a difference between original cheese and sharp cheddar and queso blanco? What if they're all just the same loaf with a different wrapper?
It's like the episode of The Simpsons where they have the giant Duff distillery with Duff Dry and Duff Light and regular Duff, like all coming out of the same machine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good time.
It's glorious. All right, guys, how's your Cobol skills?
They're fine. I'm sure I could start coding. I did like 5 minutes of Cobol during a comparative languages class. I mean, it's not hard. It's not. I mean, people that, oh no, all the people who know Cobol, it's like lost knowledge. They're all dying off, and I'm like, it's a computer program.
No, they just went and decided to learn something that had a paycheck attached to it instead.
And if there are paychecks attached to Cobol, I'll find you 10 Cobol programmers tomorrow. This ain't rocket science.
It's true. So let's see. I had one other thing on my list, and now I seem to have deleted it. I'm awesome. Velveeta Fudge, man.
Velveeta Fudge.
Isn't that a Judy Blume book?
It's coming.
It's coming. No. Too much. You have some things in the zone.
I do. Unfortunately, my internet has decided to not be super fast suddenly. So I'm assuming that means that my wife and both children have decided to all watch different channels.
Huh.
Jason, I know it was Super Fudge.
Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing.
Yeah. Let's see.
I loved those books as a kid.
Sure.
Until I got.
But not anymore.
Dear God, it's me, Margaret.
That's a different kind of
everything changed for me.
Yeah.
I realized I was not the target audience for that book.
In that you were not named Margaret?
Yep, exactly. Oh, there's a good one in there. How to win Monopoly in the shortest possible time.
A young.
Awkward pause.
I think the way you do that is you just don't play. It's like what you learned watching war games. The best way to play Monopoly is to never start.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm a bad father because my kids sometimes want to play it. And I'm like, oh,
no.
Man. And the problem is,
really?
I always want to play a statistical game. It's like, there are certain targets properties you always target, and there are others you never ever target. And if you just do that, you usually win against anyone.
Well,
People get sentimental.
And the core rule is basically buy everything.
No, that is not the core rule. If you do that, you will lose. I'll beat you every time, Malda.
If you just buy everything you can, you'll probably do fine.
Nope.
I know there are statistics.
Or you'll just lose right away, and then you can stop playing Monopoly.
And then have what you won.
No, they had they found, I think, a 7-turn combination that lets you win the game, but it required something like 4 trillion games in order to get the odds in your favor to get that to happen.
Ugh.
I'm not playing 4 trillion.
I know Monopoly held a special place in our family in that my grandparents were very religious and wouldn't play cards or anything like that. But somehow Monopoly was acceptable. Like a game about unadulterated greed was fine, yep. but you couldn't play gin rummy, So
all right, let me be clear. You can basically, if you just buy everything after just visiting, through to about Community Chest, Pennsylvania Avenue. The closer you get to free parking with your properties, the better. Never buy a railroad. There. I've helped out everybody be great Monopoly players.
But also, pretty much if you just buy everything, that's okay too.
No, if you buy Baltic and Mediterranean and kind of Oriental, Vermont and Connecticut, it's a loser game. You're dead.
Right. I know the one. Okay, so here's the thing though. The things on the first row, you don't generally land on you can't really statistically land very often on things that are in the first half of the first row on the first time around the board. And that's where it actually matters. It's the first time around the board that really matters, because after that, you're landing on things that people have already owned. The first time around the board, you basically should buy everything you land on, because you're probably going to be landing on like slots 6, 7, 8, like in that range. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, I know what you're saying. I just fundamentally disagree.
I know
you should buy St. James through Illinois and then avoid everything else.
They are absolutely different values. Have you seen the documentary on Monopoly?
No.
There's a really good one on people who competitively play Monopoly, and a math teacher who uses statistics and actually teaches kids how that the rules by showing them the percentages of returns on different slots on a Monopoly board. It's really cool.
Cool. That's really neat. I will check that out.
And and you are absolutely correct. There are like 8 or 12 slots on the board that you really shouldn't buy. That said, you should just pretty much buy everything you land on, because those are the minority of the slots. So I have there's a video of I forgot my Monopoly thing. Kurt the Pope and I once had a game of Monopoly that we played in Geek House 1. Where we worked out, we started having like these elaborate loans and stuff, and like we would have interest payments and stuff, and we had this whole a whole side economy built up, and it ended up lasting hours and hours and hours, because it ended up that he sold me like a 5% share of some of his properties, and I ended up winning, but I had to win at like 2% at a time. It took forever. It's awesome.
Have y'all seen Monopoly Deal? Someone on the channel mentioned it. I don't know what that is. It's like a subgenre of a subset of Monopoly or something, or it's a Monopoly just for Donald Trump. I don't know.
Oh, it's like a card game Monopoly?
I don't know.
I haven't played that, but that would probably be more fun than the actual board game. The real problem with Monopoly, frankly, is that for the first 5 minutes of the game, dealing with the little pieces of paper money is really fun. And then for the remaining N minutes of the game, counting out the pieces of paper money is annoying.
Actually, I agree with that. I think that, especially if you've worked in retail, the idea of dealing with money without a till and having to face your bills and all these other things, you're like, I can do this at work, Then
you have the flip side to the problem, which is you get to the end and somebody has to mortgage stuff, or they're maybe bankrupt. So then they have to spend 5 minutes adding up the mortgage values of all of their cards and sorting out all their cash, and everybody waits for 5 minutes while the one player figures it out.
Yeah.
Let's see. Microsoft Edge is now the second most used desktop browser.
Oh.
It has finally replaced the long-loved Netscape Navigator. People still use Navigator, right?
They said Navigator?
No, people still use
I
Navigator.
thought it was us, then Chrome, and then Firefox. Well, no, and then I don't know.
Firefox,
Did you
Edge,
link to this
Safari.
story in a thing?
It's in the zone, man. Are you with the zone?
Oh, God, I hate
Down with the Z.
You really should have picked a different name.
I can name it. We can rename it. I don't care.
No, you can't rename it. You have valuable members. You have 128 members. This is a thing now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a thing. It's taken off.
Yeah,
it's taken by storm.
It's a rocket ship. Okay, here we go.
Did you know that our most streamed episode of Geeks in Space on the YouTube is the one that has Elon Musk in the title? So I think we should probably just start putting Elon Musk in all of our titles.
Okay. Wait, seriously, that is the most
or just
streamed?
some, random.
Random person? You broke up.
Oh yeah.
Rosmo.
Yeah,
or
some random
maybe we'll put
famous name.
Vannevar Bush or other rocket people, Chris Kraft, and see if that, juices things.
Put the words Tiger King in the title and see.
Yeah, right.
Jason, have we ever played Flux?
We just have to find out what's
I've played
trending.
all the Fluxes. Yeah, I know. We could do that game. It's funny because in the zone, there's another thing about how SEO ruined the internet.
I was getting there.
It seems like a natural segue.
That's true.
To that. So
it's almost like I was shooting for that, man.
You're planning for it.
It's actually a legit article, and the article makes the point that remember 2001, 2002, 2003 when searching on Google was great and it just gave you the thing you wanted, and then basically something happened, and by the mid 2000s searching on Google gives you just a bunch of shit most of the time, and they I think very aptly pointed to Dig in the same era, and I obviously have some biases there, but it's like, oh, just a bunch of SEO assholes are ruining everything for everyone.
I think this is exposing a raw undercurrent in your mind, Mr. Malda.
I don't know that it's raw, and I don't know that it's an undercurrent. I think it's just straight up how it is, and it's right.
Okay, I'll give you
that. Also, I really have been enjoying the memes right now with the nature, see in this era of coronavirus, nature returning. There's been so many.
It's a great trend.
It started with the dolphins in Venice, but my other favorites was the pizzas growing on trees in Italy. But I put on the zone. That now that all the pollution has gone down, that you can finally see the robot control ship from the surface of Naboo. You went a long ways, creator of that meme, to get there, and I approve of your efforts. There's also
enjoyed the story of Plesias. I enjoyed the story of Plesiosaurus returning to Venice when I saw that one. That came out not too long after the dolphins. So
I wonder, is there anyone collecting these things? Like, is there a subreddit of nature returns?
There should be. I guess that's we'll ask Jason to figure that out. It seems like somebody's got to be consolidating these things. I also like the one that's /r/nature returns. So.
Cool.
I also really liked the one which was pollution is cleared so much that you can see the entire solar system from Earth, and it was just a picture of the solar system, including Earth, visible in the sky.
All right. There's no stories in this thing. There's 2 members. This is not really the right one.
Yeah, that's not going to help. Oh my goodness, there's humans walking on the path.
Take your pants off, quick.
You think he has pants on right now?
I do. I have a belt.
Well, yeah, she's got his belt and
does not mean you have pants.
Right?
Where's the belt going? All right, stop. I'll stop right there.
I'm just wearing a regular pair of pants with a regular belt, Chris. Stop trying to make something weird happen.
So
Like
what had happened was Quibi. Quick.
I've always been pronouncing it Quib.
Yeah, let's call it Quib. So Quib is this thing that Hollywood really, really wants to have happen, and they're trying to put all their Hollywood people, their Hollywood money behind it, and it's a huge waste of money.
Didn't they get?
They have 267 developers on it. 267 for that. It's like, dude, seriously? Anyway, yeah, it's a complete. It's a mess.
Isn't it basically just like? No, what's the thing that they advertise on all of the YouTube channels, like the Discovery stream or whatever, the documentary channel?
Curiosity stream?
Yeah. I feel like I should subscribe to that. I feel like I should subscribe to that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I want to try it out. I mean, I really like Wendover, and I like Real Engineering, and they have some good channels that are doing stuff there. And
I'm curious, do they have like an option that I can flip a switch and then like let my kids have it and not worry about them finding something dark?
I honestly don't know.
They have a trial or something. I should probably get that. But what it just seems to me like all Quibi is, or Quibi or Quibbly or Quigley is that, except with J.J. Abrams.
Well, it's not though. So I think what they're doing is they're taking all the weak scripted content plays from Snapchat and all the rest, and they're just pushing them all into Quibi, and then they're gonna pretend like they never did them. So, yeah.
Did they get like $1 billion valuation though?
I don't know. I'm sure they did. They have Meg Whitman in charge, and like,
oh, that'll work out fine. No problems have ever come with a company with Meg in charge.
Yeah, right. I just don't think it's going to matter. I just think they're trying too hard to have it matter, and it's just not going to matter.
Right. So. It's like YouTube Shorts.
YouTube Originals.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's like YouTube Red.
YouTube Red. Yeah, that's right. Come on, man. We can't give up a whole color just because one porn site uses it.
That's
true. It's like giving up the color green because Slashdot used it.
We're technically teal, man.
Sorry, teal.
And that color was owned. Did I tell you? Here's gossip. They did a redesign of the whole thing at the end of my tenure, and I wanted nothing to do with it, and I was on my way out at the time anyway. But they literally did a full design of it without any teal in the entire design, and I'm just like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, look. So I went to Slashdot for the first time in a year, and apparently there's a story in Engadget called "Quit Trying to Make Quibi Happen" that they're linking to. Nobody asked for Quibi. Nobody, that is, except for Katzenberg.
Oh, Katzenberg is in charge of that. Okay, I'm looking at Slashdot now for the first time in a long time. I still subscribe to the RSS feed, but I don't ever actually click through. I just look because it's got the window so I can see the top couple of comments. So every now and then I read the top couple of comments, which is about all I can handle anymore.
I still get all their customer support emails, so there we go. Yeah. Just throwing that out there. Anyone who wants their password changed, stop writing.
In case one of the people that works there, who I don't know your names and I've never met you and you've never met me, wants to fix that, go ahead. I like that about once every couple of weeks, somebody requests my password. I like that. All right, folks, we're sitting at the 30-minute mark, 29:03. Do we have anything else fun we want to talk about before we return to our respective quarantine bubbles?
Nothing fun, no.
We don't want to spend the private channel where we spend most of the time talking about our pets dying.
Yeah. It's a pretty grim channel. Yeah, my cat's just been acting super weird. He's been like climbing into sinks. Like, like I'll finish washing dishes and then I'll turn around, the cat's in the sink. I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's just like, what? I'm like, are you stoned? How are you getting stoned?
Share.
Anyway. Well, it's just weird. Like he I was taking a shower and he's like pawing on the shower door, and I'm like, I don't want to shower with a cat.
My little kitty is eating again, so we're pretty happy about that.
That's great.
Our Yeah, that's great. Our youngest dog has figured out that if she alternates between us, she can go out for more walks. So she's learning.
All right, folks. I think it's time for us to go be responsible grown-ups.
Yes, exactly.
I'm gonna go try to parent my child.
And I have PT later today, so I gotta bring an arm bit.
I have PT every day.
You do?
Every morning before my kids get up, every night after my kids go to bed. Always working those muscles out. Let's see. It was a bad joke.
That was a euphemism.
I apologize for my humor. Gentlemen, this has been episode 435 of Geeks in Space. I would like to thank two of my finest, geekiest friends, Rob Roseboom, who gets to go first.
See you, bye.
Chris DeBona, who gets to go second.
Velveeta Fudge.
Enjoy your Velveeta Fudge, gentlemen. Enjoy your casseroles of deliciousness. Everybody out there, stay safe, wash your hands, and we'll talk to you when